Just want to make sure that
He doesn't come to me. He just makes me take them. Look at I got my paper.
They were fresh on the form page.
Fun.
Yeah, it's streaming right now on Formosa One every day. And Jesse's trying to put it on the website.
No, it's me. But I can just tell that's small fun. Yeah. Young Cole. Young Cole. You're welcome. I didn't watch it.
I didn't see it.
We're streaming it on YouTube, and I was going to embed it on the page, but it's not. Yeah, sit. It's
Sit.
It's on the Hermosa Wine YouTube page.
The one thing that what? Yeah, sit there. Sit there.
You have to make like 3 extra steps. 2-minute warning.
Straight up on my phone. L-A-U-R. Don't call it.
Yeah, we took them in advance. Yeah. Sorry. Thank you. I saw you when you were winning, but I don't remember your name. Nice to meet you. You're our next one. That's my granddaughter's name.
Taking that break and I think it's I believe so. Yeah, I think so. If not, then it's probably prior years. Yeah, I bet you it's not.
All right. We got to Would anybody here gladly go on to the Chamber's homepage, or anybody techie, and make sure that you click to watch and it works? I'd appreciate it. And let me know if it's not working. HB Chamber done. All right, I like starting on time, and even though I told all of you 5 o'clock, I really planned on 5:10, so we're gonna go ahead and get started. If at all at any time this room starts to fill up with people arriving, we can open these doors and they can stand out there, but it looks like we have enough seats. So forgive me, I preempted and wrote some comments so that I wouldn't miss anything or anybody. So forgive me for a moment while I read to you the introduction. Welcome everyone to the Hermosa Beach Chamber of Commerce Candidate Forum for the 2022 election for Hermosa Beach. I am Jessica Accomando. I hopefully don't have to read that. I'm the President and CEO of the Hermosa Beach Chamber of Commerce and Visitors Bureau, and I will be your host tonight. Woo! Woo! Thank you for that. In the back. First, I want to tell you a few facts about the Chamber. Sometimes we have audiences this large, but it's not always this diverse. So I'd like to tell you a little bit about the Chamber of Commerce. First, as of today, we have 453 members of the Chamber of Commerce. That makes us the largest in the beach cities, and I'm really proud of it. We advocate, promote, and market our member businesses more than ever, and Chamber members consist of business owners, nonprofits, and civic members. I encourage you to look at our directory of members in the Truly Hermosa magazine that we have available for you at the entrance and at this back table. It includes all of our members as of a month ago, which we've already grown, I think, 15 to 20 since then. So please check that out. We are not part of the city, but an independent nonprofit formed in 1912. We are 110 years old, everybody. So there's no stress on my shoulders whatsoever. Although we do work closely with the city in order to serve our community. So we're grateful for that partnership. Our board of directors is made up of 15 to 18 directors who set the course for our chamber, and so stepped up to the challenge during the pandemic, including past chair member Andrea Jacobson and current chairperson Dave Davis. Since I've been here, I'd especially like to thank you both. If you are a board member, please raise your hand as you deserve a bunch of applause, and we really appreciate you. Thank you very much. Okay, back to facts. Chamber funding comes from events, membership dues, and sponsorships. If you're sitting in this room on a big wad of money, or a corporate sponsor, or watching online and want to contribute, please come and speak to me immediately after this forum. We produce some of the most treasured community events, including Fiesta Hermosa, St. Patrick's Day Parade, Hermosa for the Holidays, and the Best of Hermosa Awards, which hopefully, as you know, we then award a Person of the Year at that event, so we're very proud of it. We also produce the sidewalk sales and co-sponsor other local events, so we are busy. We produce a community newsletter which goes out every other week called the Beach Bulletin, and it's free, and I encourage you to join because that's how we disseminate information to the whole public and the community. We recently formed the Hermosa Chamber Foundation, which will be the driver of many events in 2023, and we look forward to telling you more about that later. We contributed to the Economic Development Strategy recently approved by City Council, which you will hear about tonight, and if you aren't familiar. We intend to partner in many ways for those priorities to make sure our business community thrives. We're also a visitors bureau, and we recently released our new destination magazine, the Truly Hermosa magazine I mentioned, which is free to all residents and visitors, and you can find it at any local hotel in the South Bay, including Torrance. I lost my spot here. We'll be producing this publication twice a year, fall, winter, and spring, summer. We also operate trulyhermosa.com. If you haven't been, you've hopefully seen decals on the ground. If you scan that code, you go to Truly Hermosa and you get a directory of all of the businesses that are members in our community, also how to park, how to find resources, and so forth. And finally, many people do not know, but many business owners in Hermosa are also residents. And thus, forums like this are important for all of us. We all want a vibrant business community. So now let me tell you a little bit about this forum so everybody can know what to expect today. The Chamber does not endorse any candidates, but does encourage businesses to learn about and advocate for the candidates that will get our business community to the next level. The questions tonight are unknown to the candidates. They were curated by the Economic Development Action Committee of the Chamber, also known as EDAC, and submitted by Chamber members online. The questions were then approved by the Executive Board. Speaking of the EDAC, I'd like to thank that committee for producing a list of economic development priorities that we distributed to all members on Monday and included on some of the chairs out in the audience. We also have extra copies at the entrance if you'd like to see them. Please make sure you read that list. We intend to discuss these priorities more at our upcoming candidate mixer, which I'll talk more about later. But thank you to the members of that committee who are with us tonight, especially Chairman Ed Hart up here. Laura Pena, Susan Caskey, Nicole Burke, Angie Silverman, Katie Vernon, Jonathan Wicks, Tammy Herbert, and John David. Tonight's forum is not a debate where follow-up will be asked of candidates. That said, we encourage the audience to take note of the positions of the candidates and inquire directly to them at our candidate mixer happening next Wednesday, October 12th at 5:30 at Vista. That's the Old Mermaid Vista there at the pier. You do need to register in advance for that, but we encourage you to come with your questions, as every single one of these folks will be at that event. You can register at hbchamber.net. Okay, now on to the forum. Now we will first begin with introductions. Please note that seating order was completed randomly as each candidate selected a number when they arrived tonight. Each candidate is allotted 2 minutes to introduce themselves and tell us what a perfect day in Hermosa looks like to them. We will begin with number 1, and then with each round, we will begin with the next number so that each person has an opportunity to go first. So with that, introductions will begin with Councilman Ray Jackson, and Solange will be your number warning and timer. So when you get down to 15 seconds on any timed activity, she will give you a heads up with the 15 seconds. Ray, would you mind scooting a little bit? Sorry. Is that better? All right. All right, Ray, the mic is yours.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. fellow Hermosa residents. It's an honor and a privilege to be here. I sit as your current serving council member. Seems like we only did this 18 months ago. As a matter of fact, we did. You know, it said it's better the second time around, so I actually think it is. I just had the privilege of coaching Hermosa Valley Middle School. We just beat Chadwick in football. And, so, you know, that is always a part of a special day, getting to work with the young men in our community and watch them grow and develop into young men. Perfect day at Hermosa Beach. Let's start with that. Every year we've done I mentioned this in the last debate, we have a big Easter bash where dozens of families come down to the south end of Hermosa and we scatter literally thousands of Easter eggs and kids scramble around in the sand. And dads get up early and we schlep all the gear out to the beach and you know we're complaining because it's early and we're tired and you know, but to see the smiles on the faces and the parents all getting together and the fellowship, you know, it's something that it just envelops what's so special about this community. Growing together to set up a special day for our friends and family. So we were able to do that this year post-pandemic, and it was just wonderful with hundreds of kids scrambling, tug of war, boys versus girls, and it's truly a special event that we cherish every Easter. I've got 15 seconds. I will end it at that.
Thank you very much. Kieran Harrington.
Hi everybody, thanks for having me today. My name is again Kieran Harrington. I'm a candidate for Hermosa Beach City Council. I grew up in a working class family with a history of serving others. My dad was a drug and alcohol probation officer, my mom was a 6th grade English teacher. We were East Coasters back then, but every couple of years my parents would pack up the rowdy boys and drive us down to a beach where my aunt and uncle lived. I found Hermosa Beach for the first time when I was 13 years old. I fell in love with this town, the beach town, riding bikes on the Strand and surfing in the beach. Years later, when I was offered a job with a company called Sunrise Senior Living, my task was to open up 47 senior living facilities across the West Coast. My twin brothers soon then followed me. Those businesses were opened up in 12-year period. I knew I made the right decision. Hermosa Beach is home because it makes me feel at home. I transitioned to other parts of the hospitality industry, but never left Hermosa Beach. A member of the family and community that I'm proud of. Hermosa Beach City Council is pure service to the community, often thankless, I've heard. But what I'm looking forward to, serving all Hermosa residents with transparency, openness, and a focus on long-term fiscal responsibility. Perfect day in Hermosa Beach is, I wake up at 7 o'clock in the morning generally. I take Spike, my dog, for a walk down Horondo Street. I go down to my boat, and Spike and I will sit there 9 o'clock, and then I'll do emails at the club, and then I'll get the yacht club ready for service and business on the cover of the Redondo Beach Yacht Club. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Rita Giraci.
Good evening, everyone. It's so great to see so many friendly, familiar faces. First off, thank you to the Chamber for hosting this debate, and not only for hosting it, but for all that you have done for the city of Hermosa. I think we could argue and say that it has been a great having her as our leader in the city. I'm Rita Giraci. I was born in San Pedro to Italian immigrants, and my wife and I moved to Hermosa Beach 11 years ago, where we were looking for a place to plant roots permanently, and all the beauty that Hermosa had to offer was exactly why we came here. And then when we found out what a great community it was an even win-win for our investment here. One of our favorite things and a perfect day to do in Hermosa is to take our puppy Augie down to, we stop at Juiced and get a couple acai bowls, and then we head down to the pier and sit on a bench and just watch everyone, whether we've got volleyball going, or junior guards, or surfers in the water, or kids that we have to offer in Hermosa. I'm running because I care deeply about our community and the needs of our city. I want to bring my critical thinking skills and assets to the team of council members. I emphasize team because that is exactly what the council is. It is a team of people elected to serve on behalf of the community for the betterment of Hermosa. I've spent time during the campaign getting to know so many of my fellow residents and business owners. I've listened to their wants and needs. I've taken note of the improvements needed, the items where we are lacking. I've also listened to all the positive feedback, the Process Club. Thank you.
Thank you. Dan Godwin.
Good evening, everybody. Name is Dan Godwin, and I'm running for City Council here in Hermosa. Thank you as well to the Chamber of Commerce for hosting this event. It looks like it's a very successful event as it's going already. So thank you for putting this together. And thank you for everybody who's attending and also participating virtually. So before I go into my perfect day, I do want to go into my background, mission statement, and platform. A little bit about me. So I was actually born in Northern California, Walnut Creek, where I eventually moved to Orange County and finished out high school. One of the most important people in my life is my mother, Deborah Ferris, who's here tonight supporting me, as well as my fiancée, Yulisa, where we got engaged earlier this year. We actually met in Hermosa at the pier. So Hermosa is very dear to my heart. I went to Cal State LA where I got my MBA, I got my undergrad in aviation administration, and then later I got my MBA out of Cal State Dominguez Hills. At the same time during my undergrad, I commissioned into the Air Force as a lieutenant, and I began work as a maintenance officer working on ICBMs in North Dakota. Not the most exciting work, but the job needs to get done. And then over the last 11 years, I've been working as a project manager at the local base here in El Segundo, working on satellite systems like GPS and missile warning satellite program. I fulfilled that role under two different caps, how I describe it, one as a civil servant and then one as a major. In the six objectives with over 30 actions identified, and those are on my website, dan4hermosa.com. It could be the number 4 or spelled out 4. For a perfect day in Hermosa, to save us some time, I just want to rephrase my favorite activities. This includes breakfast at Ocean's Diner, volleyball at 8th Street, getting a happy hour and watching my favorite sports teams at the pier, and then mixing in Hermosa events like Fiesta Hermosa, shout out to the Chamber of Commerce, and hopefully we can get back to Summer Beach concerts one of these days. Thank you.
Thank you, Dan. Next up, Jeff Reading.
Thank you, Jesse. We've got a busy day packed, so everyone buckle up. I don't wake up as early as Kieran, but I live over by Granny's grocery, so I'll start with the longboarder. After that, I'll go over to Patrick Malloy's and watch a Notre Dame game. One of the great things about Hermosa is we're such a melting pot of people from diverse parts of the country, and it's really easy to find your tribe and find common things that you can gather around. For me, there's Notre Dame football on Saturdays in the fall. From there up to Uncorked. Uncorked is one of my favorite places in Hermosa. It's because we have such a community there, where the regulars and the employees are like a family, and we hang out outside of work, and it's just a friendly, welcoming place to be, which represents a lot of how I feel about Hermosa. After that, up to the community center, where they'd be having either a movie premiere or the Historical Society would be having an open house, sort of like they did a few weeks ago with Patty Astor, who was just a fascinating person. It was just an educational experience to learn about her life and what she's done. Then from the Historical Society or the Community Center, what would a day in Hermosa be like without some live music? So I would head down again to the Lighthouse, see a band there, or I love going to the South Bay Jam at Patrick Malloy's because it's just amazing what talent we have locally, and it's such a wonderful place to experience this culture, and that's what I hope to preserve as a city council member. So thank you.
Thank you, Jeff. Up next, Matt McCool.
Good evening, Hermosa. Matt McCool. This is my second time around, as I ran in 2017, and the reason why I'm running again is everything I ran on in 2017 turned out to be true. The 7 candidates I ran against in 2017, none of them are running again, and the 3 that were elected are not seeking re-election. So to go ahead and begin with the fun question, perfect day in Hermosa Beach. I think I really need to qualify that question is for somebody who grew up here in Southern California, who's a Southern California native. I've lived all over Los Angeles, specifically a lot on the west side. but there's just a weird feeling where there's no community. I was the guy in my building who wanted to talk to all the neighbors, wanted to talk to everybody. I got the weird look. Coming here to Hermosa Beach, this is the best community. I love it. I love the fact that living on Pier Avenue, just walking up to Vaughn's, I can run into 2 or 3 people. This is a community. This is why I love it. So to describe my perfect day is why I live here in Hermosa Beach. Get up early in the morning, get my cup of coffee, and walk on the Strand. Reflection of gratitude and appreciation of being blessed to live in this community. It's incredible. Then I would go ahead and get my brunch, and then on a perfect day, ideal day, around 1:30, I would go watch the NFC Championship game, probably at Fox and Durham, to see my Dallas Cowboys beat the Philadelphia Eagles to go on to the Super Bowl. So I used to spend a lot of time over at Chelsea watching football games. So as far as the rest of my candidacy, why I'm running is I've said that after the last election, there was 5 people who were closely knit who's been running the city council and having a tremendous amount of votes that are 5-0 all the time created absolute power, and absolute power creates absolute corruption. So that's why I'm running. Thank you.
Thank you, Matt. Next up, Dean Francois.
Good evening, Dean Francois. I'll start out with the perfect day. I guess we were asked about that. I've been around for 40 years, so my perfect days have changed. When I was younger, for sure, but perfect day for me would be to go for a great long bike ride along the coast as far as I can before I turn around and come back, and that's because we have that great long bike path right there. Returning and going for a swim in the ocean where the degrees of that ocean isn't too cool yet. And getting out, playing some beach tennis with our beautiful beach tennis courts we have down by the pier, and then finishing off at a happy hour at one of the local establishments in the plaza before I head back home on my bike. And that would be kind of a perfect day for me, as it is now. Like I said, I've been here for 40 years. I've been working to improve the quality of life of all the community here. And I intend to use the abilities that I've gained doing that to be a city council member that will listen to you and listen to everyone. I've advocated at city councils and county board meetings and coastal commissions, organized efforts to limit growth of oversized hotel in Hermosa, diverted pollution away from our beaches, and led the way on matters surrounding our city, on traffic matters, the AES. I have elected experience as an executive board member of the Sierra Club, appointed city commissioners in the past, elected as chair of some commissions, leadership experience on public safety as a longtime volunteer with the Red Cross and the CERT team. My professional experience working on federal government budgets, along with the experience I've just mentioned, prepares me to work a wide variety of issues right here on day one when I get elected. That's why I'm endorsed by a long list of elected officials, some former Hermosa Beach Council members. So we need to chart a way forward, keep small town atmosphere, keep our businesses thriving, cut down on red tape and bureaucracy, improve the quality of life, police visibility, tackle the homeless issue. Really needs to be addressed by our city.
Thank you, Dean.
I have experience in all those areas. Thank you. Look
Thank you
forward to
very
serving.
much. Next up, Rob Seaman. Make sure you grab that mic there, Rob.
Thank you. See, you guys took all the good stuff. I'm gonna be in here, so I'm going to do my best. Thank you, Jesse, and the Chamber of Commerce for hosting this event. My name is Rob Seaman. I'd like to start by telling you what my perfect day is in Hermosa. I wake up, jump out of bed, which I don't do too often these days, but jump out of bed and I go to the city website to see the final election results, and I discover that I am a Hermosa Beach City Councilman. That's a pretty good day so far. Then I take my wife and closest friends and supporters to breakfast outside at a local spot, my treat. Afterwards, a walk on the Strand, we spend the day together, and finally watch the sunset from our roof deck. And that day would be November 9th, of course. I grew up in a place called Lamert Park, not far from the LA Coliseum. I fell in love with Hermosa Beach one summer in high school. A day in Hermosa and a taco burrito later, I decided that this was the place for me. I love this place very much, and that comes from a very long time ago. A few years later, my wife and I were blessed with the opportunity to make Hermosa our home. We love to travel, and we have been all around the world, and we have seen most of the great wonders of the world. But no matter where our travels take us, we can't wait to get home and see our friends and family in our house and be here in Hermosa Beach. This is our home. When I'm gone, the thing I miss most is the people here. I walk on the beach and watching the sunset is wonderful. But going out to eat with my friends at a favorite local spot, having a few laughs, catching up with friends, that all makes me feel like I'm at home. I won't reveal which is my favorite local spot because, after all, I want to represent all the businesses equally. So that's what I like to do. So speaking of representation, I have served the city for almost 10 years. First on the Public Works Commission, 7 years on the Planning Commission. There's always a learning curve when you start something new, but just as 45 years as a builder in Hermosa Beach flattened the curve for me on the Planning Commission, 10 years of commission work is the best training you can get for City Council. I don't know everything there is to know, but I'm ready to hit the ground running when I'm elected. My time in city government has taught me that open minds, different points of view.
Go ahead and finish up.
Different points of view and sharing ideas will result in the best ideas. Working together, we can all make our city the best it can be. I look forward to continuing and serving the city I fell in love with so many years ago. Thank you for your support.
Thank you, Rob. All right, thank you, everybody. Now you've had a little introduction of each candidate. I'm just going to remind everybody that you have live mics in front of you, and this device right here is recording, and it also has a live mic. So, I don't know, tell your secrets if you want, but just keep in mind that that camera is trying to also listen to the audience, to the candidates. So please be careful for those in this area. Next, we're going to move on to a yes-no round of questions. A paddle in front of them. Please demonstrate for the audience the yes-no on them. No is red, black is yes. I'm going to read some instructions for you. You do not have to answer quickly. If you need to think about it, pause. I'll wait for everyone to raise their paddles. It's not a rush, please. Please wait until I've completed the question to raise your paddle for all to see, because what happens is people see the paddle and then they stop listening to the question. So please wait till I finish and then answer. And please do not lower your paddle until I say lower your paddles. That way everybody who wants to see has an opportunity to see. Are we ready?
Oh.
Here we go. Are you, your business, or your employer a member of the Chamber of Commerce? Please hold them up.
Oh, sorry.
All right, thank you. Lower your paddles. Do you support Measure B, the sales tax increase to 10.25%? All right, lower your paddles. Should the city partner in bringing back the Summer Beach Concert Series if, hang on, if there's an interested producer willing to organize them? Thank you. Lower your paddles. Do you support establishing an economic development division or committee within our city that generates policies resulting in additional commerce, investment, and resources in Hermosa Beach? Thank you. Lower your paddles. It's a little vague, so. Do you support keeping the dining deck program permanently in Hermosa Beach? Sorry, Ray has to scoot over to make sure he's on camera. All right. Okay, here comes some fun questions. Did you volunteer and work this year at Fiesta? All right, lower your paddles. How about both fiestas? Meaning Memorial Day before you knew you were running. So everybody keep track there. You did do Memorial Day, but you did the first one. Not both. Or no, did you do both? Sorry, didn't mean to put you on the spot. Okay. Bonus. How about donated, sponsored, or financially contributed to a chamber-funded event or effort this year? Thank you very much. The chamber has many nonprofit members. Have you served on a Hermosa-based nonprofit board or advisory group? No rush. Thank you. Do you believe encouraging a work-live lifestyle in our pedestrian-oriented downtown will increase vibrancy? Thank you. You can lower your paddles. The city lawn where the Christmas tree lot happens and the art festival occur in a great space. They occur on the community center lawn, which is a great space. Do you support activating our community center lawn with year-round activities and placemaking opportunities? Thank you. Will you be volunteering for the upcoming Hermosa for the Holidays Festival, November 18th through 20th? Somebody take a picture. All right. Thank you very much. Do you support 4 weeks of free parking in the downtown area during the holiday season for shoppers? That's Thanksgiving to Christmas. Right. He said depends. All right. Thank you all for indulging us in the yes/no paddle portion. We will now move on to timed questions. As I mentioned when we Okay, there's been a request that when you answer, because the people in the back can't see you, that you grab the mic and stand up. So if you're willing and can accommodate, please do so. Meanwhile, let me introduce the next segment. As I mentioned when we started, seats were drawn at random by the candidates. For answering questions, we'll begin with seat 1 and then alternate with each question, beginning with the next person in line. I will call names so it's not confusing. Each candidate will have exactly 1 minute to answer the question. Solange over here, board member, will be doing the timer and will give you a 15-second warning. Please remember to end right when her alarm goes off or I cut you off, either one of us. I said both of those. Your time will not begin until after I ask the question. If you need me to repeat the question, you may request that. Are we ready? Yes. Here we go. So this begins with you, right? What strategies or ideas do you have to bring commerce and additional revenue to our downtown and non-downtown businesses?
Thank you for the question. We've had several discussions with chamber, business members in the community in terms of some ideas in which we can do. One of the things that we've talked about in my perfect world would be bringing the summer concert series back. You notice that a lot of cities have a summer concert series. We have these great venues within our city, South Park, Valley Park, the Greenbelt, obviously the beach, in which we can activate those areas, generate more traffic, people coming into our town. We've got local musicians who would love to show off their talents, and that's something I think we should look at doing in addition to your comment earlier about the beach and the summer concert series.
Thank you very much, Ray. Kieran.
I agree with Ray. Thank you so much for the question. I do believe in the summer concerts. I think we need to get a true promoter back into town. I think we need to bring Sunday concerts back to the beach for sure. One of my plans is to light the volleyball courts from 10th to 15th Street with solar power and try to get the small business owners that own the volleyball company, the companies to have that till at least 10 o'clock at night. And that's one of the definite reasons, one of the things I want to do as well. And then keep our bands, keep our bars, our nightlife, and everything as vibrant as it is, and add to it, enhance it, keeping the patios on the pier, and keep our culture, Hermosa Beach culture.
Thank you, Kieran. I'll grab.
I went down. Someone help me.
All right, the floor is yours, Rita.
Thank you for the question. I too agree with Ray and Kieran on the music aspect, and another plan that I would have kind of sparked out of my recent graduation with the Leadership Hermosa program where I was in one of the groups that was pushing for a First Thursday event. There's lots of towns that have it. San Pedro's one of them, where it's in the downtown area and it brings in art and music and all of the culture. And I think that would be a really great way where businesses that normally close earlier can stay open and benefit from that foot traffic coming. So that is something that I would definitely push for.
Thank you, Rita. Dan, you're up.
I'm gonna sit down, so I'm gonna be that bad guy.
It's your choice. Please, go ahead.
All right, thank you for the question, Jesse. So a lot of the time in government, there's a lot of talk and not enough walk, right? So I think we really need to start focusing on what we can do and what we can do sooner than later. As many of you know, this past July, the City Council approved the Economic Development Strategy. This was a result of the hard work accomplished over a year done by the Economic Development Committee and Advisory Working Group, many of those members who are here tonight. So first off, thank you for putting in all that good work. Now the city needs to follow through. Downtown revitalization, municipal code updates, business outreach, and economic development work program. Again, it's time to focus the city's effort and budget. As city council member, I would take a refreshed look at code enforcement, costs and processes for permits and licensing, as well as other things that would support local business. So I am definitely pro-local business, and I look forward to future conversations with the Chamber of Commerce and all the other businesses out there. Thanks.
Thank you, Dan. Next up, if you're gonna stand, I'll give you a second to
Yeah.
pull that mic off and stand there, Jeff. Yeah,
I'm in a pile of cables, so if you see me suddenly disappear behind me, you know, my legs got caught here. But, and the cable doesn't reach. I'm gonna sit down.
Very sorry about that, Jeff.
Sorry, time's up.
No, we haven't started
I haven't
time
started
yet.
it yet.
Yeah,
You're good.
and that's why I. Okay. Good. And could you repeat the question again? It's been 4 people.
Can you repeat the question?
Absolutely. So sorry, I'm getting all kinds of requests from the back of the room, so trying to make sure we accommodate everybody. Jeff Reedy, what strategies or ideas do you have to bring commerce and additional revenue to our downtown and non-downtown businesses?
Okay, yeah, I think the reason that Dan wanted to sit down was because he was reading my card. And I agree with all the things from Ray, Rita, and Dan have said. I really wanted, when the question was asked, I really wanted to focus on the same thing, which is maintaining that Economic Strategy Development Council. It was good work that they did, and it's unfortunate that it kind of got dissolved because, like Dan said, I think what the city really needs is follow through. There's going to be a lot of ideas that people in the city have. I'm not going to profess to have every idea that would improve our city, but I think what the most important thing is to listen to our business owners downtown and all over the city, even up in aviation and all of our residents as well, to cultivate these ideas because all of us are smarter than just 1 or 2 of us. So that's what I want to say.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dan.
Thank you, Jeff. Next up, Matt McCool.
All right, thank you. As far as answering this question, what the city council can do, I believe that government should have a limited role in business. I believe a laissez-faire approach, that our community has a lot of active members and let them go ahead and do what they do. My candidate statement, I think regulatory reform is the biggest issue. I think we have overregulation of our businesses, and going back and looking at some of our codes, our code enforcement, is probably the best thing to help businesses. I had a chance to participate in a lot of the Economic Development Committee meetings. One thing I emphasized on is the biggest issue that I didn't see, but public safety has got to be the #1 issue for the downtown area. If you want to go ahead and have businesses thrive, people are not going to come down here late night if they feel there's a safety concern. So that's another issue. I strongly oppose the 3/4% sales tax to help the businesses. And as you see in my candidate statement, I do support returning the Summit Beach concert series. Thank you.
Thank you, Matt. Next up, Dean Francois.
Thank you. Is it on? Okay, it is. We can do a lot to improve the commerce and revenue. I think that doing things to make it more pedestrian friendly and bicycle friendly, including more bike racks and places for people to put their bikes when they lock them up. I think we need to increase the ADA access to our streets around the beaches and to the beach as well. We certainly need to improve and bring about more of the mats that have already been placed down there on the beach. Bringing concerts, certainly, bringing those concerts back on the Sunday nights or whatever nights we're going to have them in the summertime is a good, and promoting more live music. There's been a decline of live music for long term, and I'd like to do more to increase and promote more live music. We need to make relaxation on the red tape, cutting the red tape, especially outside of the summer months. That's when the demand is low. We can do a lot more to relax that, to encourage people to come here off season, because we do have that big flux when the summer is over. And I was going to say something that businesses need to get together to close the sales things.
Thank you. Rob Seaman.
Thank you. I think that the live music throughout the downtown area is a great idea. We should continue that. Also, the concerts on the beach. That was always great fun, and I hope to have that back again. I think that the one thing that came out of the pandemic that was good was outdoor dining. The outdoor dining decks have given the area something really special that we didn't have before. It's kind of one of those things that kind of makes Hermosa Hermosa. Not only would I like to see the dining decks remain, I have an idea to expand them by using the open-face garage door design for some of the restaurants. I think that was a great idea. We were doing it for a while, and it seems to have kind of gone into the background. I would like to see that, encourage that. Put some chairs and tables in front of that indoor-outdoor dining room. Would be a great thing. And then also my own personal idea that I thought of in the planning commission meeting about 3-4 months ago was rooftop dining. That's an exciting new idea. It can enhance outdoor dining. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Sorry, I'm holding tight to time so that it's fair for everybody. I appreciate your patience, candidates. So this next question will begin with Kieran Harrington. On the campaign trail, you've probably had a lot of conversations with business owners. What's the best idea you've heard from a business that you'd like to see implemented if elected? Absolutely. On the campaign trail, you've probably had a lot of conversations with business owners. What's the best idea you've heard from a business that you'd like to see implemented if elected?
Well, again, keeping outside dining in our dining areas the way they are right now is definitely crucial for our businesses. I would say there's some definite ideas that I have. It's not directly related to business, but it is maybe a dog park in Hermosa Beach, something of that nature in one of our valley parks. Lighting the volleyball nets for the beach tennis and for the volleyball will bring extra business to the downtown till 10 o'clock at night or till midnight or 1 o'clock in the morning. And I think that's definitely going to be something crucial for the city for sure. And that's something that all of the volleyball people are asking for in town. And I think that's going to increase business for sure.
Thank you, Kieran. Next up, Rita Geraci.
Thank you. I have heard so much positive feedback, and then where it feels like we're lacking in terms of, I'm in the east side, so I'm off of 4th and Prospect. I always like to say that PCH is the Great Barrier Reef that nobody wants to cross. We're the land of the forgotten over there. And I think increasing our wayfinding signs in our corridors up along Aviation and even Upper Pier, and really trying to engage those businesses to get the vibrancy happening there. They feel like we could use some beautification over there. And yes, the outdoor dining decks are great, but we need to incorporate all of Hermosa, and I think building our vibrancy on the areas along Hermosa Ave. I see Dave Davis in the room here. We need to be able to get people, yes, downtown and Pier Plaza is great, but we need to spread them out to our other areas, even our Cypress Arts District. Thank you.
Thank you, Rita. Next up, Dan Godwin.
Thank you, Jesse. And also, Kieran and Rita had some really, really good ideas, and I hope that we continue those ideas and follow through on the implementation of those. So one of the things that kept coming up was the permits and licensing, both the processes as well as the cost. So one of the ideas that I have, again, I don't want to stovepipe solutions, but I want to invest back into our community, is creating a platform that we can digitize the permits and licensing. So for businesses and residents alike, it's easier to find them, it's easier to submit them, initiate them, and then it would be easier for the city to coordinate and allow the requestor to actually pay for it. So I think there's a lot of room for improvement on how we submit permit and licensing requests, as well as the overall cost that we actually pay for those. So I think we can really focus on reducing the amount that we request from businesses and residents. Trying to have a house party, even if it's small T, I think the permit price is like $800 to $900, right? So I think that's unreasonable for a resident. I want to look out for businesses as well.
Thank you, Dan. Next up, Jeff Reedy.
Yeah, in talking to several business owners, I was surprised to find that businesses really, I'm not surprised that businesses want to beautify the area, especially Upper Pier, improve lighting, wayfinding signs, but that when they go to try to do that, the city throws up obstacles to do that, whether it be permits or things that you're not permitted or not allowed to do due to codes or whatnot. I'd like to increase the cooperation so that businesses who want to contribute their own money and time to beautify the city don't have so many roadblocks thrown up. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeff. Next up, Matt McCool.
Thank you. I've had a chance to talk to a lot of the business owners in the downtown area. I think one of the types of businesses that has been affected is the retail shops that don't have that don't use dining decks. They said that parking takeaway is taken away from their business. I completely support outdoor dining decks. For example, Uncorked has their old dining deck, doesn't take up any street parking. There's two types of dining decks. There's the on-street and the off-street. I think we need to go ahead and phase out the on-street dining decks and make the on-street completely permanent. But the non-restaurant owners here, I think they've kind of been lost in this whole dining deck situation. Thank you.
Thank you, Matt. Next up, Dean Francois.
Thank you. Yeah, cutting red tape, of course, is one of the backbones of my platform. And sure enough, businesses will talk to you about, and it takes a long discussion to figure out what really is the situation of the problem. It tends to be that perhaps they're being advised by someone in the city that it's okay to do something, they invest money in it, then they come to find out that in fact it was against their permit or against the rules. And this transparency is what's needed. We need to work better with them so that they don't get incorrect information about what it is they can do, because if they start to invest in something and then they can't, it's really disruptive. I've had businesses say, we invested in these outdoor decks, we told we couldn't, take them away, then they extended it later after they took them away, and it's like this unclear direction or consistent direction that I think is really needed instead of these swings and pendulum swings back and forth with direction and what they're allowed and what they're not allowed to do. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, Rob Seaman.
Thank you. It's an opportunity for me to kind of finish the last question. The outdoor dining decks and the rooftop dining decks. I totally agree with having outdoor dining decks. I think they're great. I think the point that they are taking away parking from the other businesses is a bit of a problem, but I think that is far outweighed by what they do bring to the party. Outdoor dining decks brings foot traffic. It brings vitality and much better things than just taking away parking. And while we're on the subject of parking, I am pleased to see that the Economic Development Committee has recommended short-term and long-term parking fixes for the downtown area, including Upper Pier. And I totally agree with that. Parking is always the big elephant in the room that everybody talks about. Oh, we should build a thing here, we should build something there, but it really doesn't get done. And that would be one of my goals in 4 years, to see that we can actually get that accomplished. The other thing, I had a nice conversation with a business owner about bicycles and e-bikes. We suggested having a training program.
So sorry. So sorry, Rob, you're out of time.
That's fine. Thank you.
All right, the next question's a doozy, so I'm gonna go slow.
Wait.
Oh, Ray! I'm very sorry. Ray Jackson.
Oh my
Story of my life.
I'm very sorry.
What was the question?
Conversations with businesses and what is the best idea you'd like to see implemented?
Well, one of the ideas that was implemented that is still in its test phase, but with a lot of positive feedback, is the online permitting process that we now have employed. While it's not perfect, it's better than it was. We continue to make improvements, and when you talk to folks that are actually using it, they will tell you that we are making improvements and it's better than it was. The city manager has constant discussions with businesses throughout the city in terms of what we can do as a city to improve our processes. Are we perfect? No. Are we better than we were? Without a doubt. And we are continuing to strive to get better. With regard to the lighting issue, I can't think of a scenario where somebody offered to improve lighting and we didn't do that. At the end of the day, it's about activating, enhancing, expanding our outdoor experience. That's something everybody throughout the community wants. Aviation, PCH, as well as the Peter corridors.
Thank you, Ray, and sorry about that. I have to remember I'm rotating candidates we're beginning with. So this one, Rita, this one will begin with you. And it's a doozy, so I'm sorry to everybody, I will go slow. Our city is currently conducting a comprehensive zoning code update that has potential to affect the next 20 plus years. What changes do you see in our business district over the next 5, 10, 20 years? And how would you specifically change zoning in our commercial zones to meet the future?
This feels right on par because I'm a realtor. And this is, I'm going to go into maybe a controversial topic, but I'm a big fan of mixed use. I get to travel all over LA County and see different cities of how they operate with their mixed use. And yes, I know we're a small city, but if it's done right and implemented properly, we could really make it function to where we've got affordable housing, with restaurants on the lower levels, and really that's talking about boosting our economy in so many different ways. We're creating housing, we're creating business for our businesses that continue to thrive. What was the second part of that question?
And so sorry. And how would you specifically change zoning in our commercial zones to meet the future?
I would, again, controversial, relax the parking.
Thank you, Rita. Next up, Dan Godwin.
Would you mind repeating?
Absolutely.
That was a long one.
It is a long question.
Yeah.
The city is currently conducting a comprehensive zoning code update that has the potential to affect the next 20 years. What changes do you see in the business district over the next 5, 10, 20 years, and how would you specifically change zoning in our commercial zones to meet the future?
All right, I think it's something that the city needs to do additional research on. Obviously, there's going to be impacts from mixing personal use with business, but that is something we should definitely look at. Parking was also mentioned. Another topic we already talked about was extended patios. My understanding is that it needs approval by the Coastal Commission due to the California Environmental Quality Act. And so that is a big thing that the city needs to work on, is that Coastal Commission plan. So I'm hoping that they make some progress on that. Parking's already been talked about, but follow through. Follow through on the businesses' inputs and genuinely listen to them on what we can do to make their businesses run more smoothly. Thank you.
Thank you, Dan. Next up, Jeff Reedy.
Yes, thanks. Sign me up, put my name down on the mixed use bandwagon here. People are simply driving less, whether that is a result of COVID. I think it's going to be a more permanent change in the workforce where people are working from home more and don't have commutes as much. So I like the mixed use idea to promote a more community feel. So you have people that live across the street, live on top of a restaurant or a commercial business on the first floor, and I think that just promotes more of a sense of place and creates a better community. Now combine that with outdoor dining and all of the things that we've done throughout the pandemic. So yeah, and then also relaxed parking.
Thank you, Jeff. Next up, Matt McCool.
Thank you. Hate to be redundant here on the mixed use, but I actually live in a mixed use building on Pier Avenue. I've called in several times, see Mr. Hart twice a day when I'm walking down. It's a great experience. I love it. I love being there. Everybody that comes over to my place, it loves the experience. I wish we had more of this in Hermosa Beach, so I would definitely advocate for mixed use in the downtown business area for residential at the second or maybe even third level buildings. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, Dean Francois.
Thank you. Yeah, I guess we're all following on this bandwagon of mixed use. Mixed use is great. It's going to be careful to do it right. Yeah. It's not an easy answer. It's a delicate balance. Property owners may be absorbing a great gain, and with that gain, it needs to be used to figure out how we're going to make affordable housing work, because you're talking about affordable housing in a place where the rent's very high. So it's going to take a lot of work, a lot of tweaking. There's a lot of ways to do it, but I'm determined as a council member to make sure that it can work and it will work for the betterment of our community. Thank you.
Thank you, Dean. Next up, Rob Seaman.
Thank you. The Planning Commission is currently conducting that zoning code update. And as a sitting commissioner on the Planning Commission, I think it would be very inappropriate for me to comment on what we're hearing right now. So I'm going to have to respectfully decline. I do have well over a dozen comments to make, but I think it's wrong for me to say those things right now.
Rob, if you would like to continue your thought from the previous question, the time is yours.
I think. Oh, okay. Yes, I would. Let's go. Thank you. I appreciate that. I had a discussion with. We were talking about owners and talking to business owners and having discussions about things in the city. I did speak to a person about a bicycle and e-bike training program, where there is already one in progress at the school, but I think we could get the city, the police department, the school, PTA parents, everybody together and come up with a training program and perhaps a rules of the road safety for e-bikes and train these kids on how to behave.
Thank you, Rob. I will not miss. Next up, Ray Jackson.
Thank you. The police and the schools have had several training sessions on e-bikes. It's been a great collaboration. They put together several YouTube videos that were student run. So I talk about a great opportunity for school and the police officers to collaborate to make a difference to help to address the challenges we have with our e-bikes. I've had discussions for several months with many folks about opportunities for mixed use. As for those of you who are following, in our housing element that we've submitted to Sacramento, mixed use potential projects are in that mix, in that proposed housing element that we submitted. So these discussions are taking place. With regard to parking, I mean, the elephant is not in the room. We've ripped that Band-Aid off. We are taking incremental steps to address the parking management problems that we have in the city. We have some residents that have 19 and 20 parking spots, and we're trying to pull that back. So
Thank you, Jessica. Appreciate it. I want to say that I'm going to, again, parlay on my constituents here. Manhattan Beach was a mixed use. We had 3 apartments above and the restaurant below. It worked out fantastic. I really do think that we need more parking for e-bikes and more parking for regular bikes. I know that I have my one vehicle and the other vehicle is my e-bike. That is my second form of transportation. If my wife has my car, then I'm on the e-bike and vice versa. I don't think there's enough parking out there for e-bikes and bike parking at this moment. And if we're going to, thank you.
All right, Karen, thank you. Before I read the next question, I just want to tell the audience that the zoning code update that's happening right now and active desperately seeks feedback of community members. So I heavily encourage you to read up on that. If you go to this corner over here is our EDAC, our Economic Development Action Committee people who can help you understand where to get, what's happening, and how to get involved. So please do, because it impacts business. Thank you. Okay, this next question begins with you, Dan.
Yeah.
If elected, what specific actions would you take to bring our community together to address and help homelessness in Hermosa?
So the city, I'm sure Councilmember Jackson will correct all of us when we speak. The city's actually partnered up with a couple programs already, InterServices Faith and also one other program. When I was reviewing the budget earlier in June, we spent about $20,000 just on 2 beds, right? So that's one line item in our budget that we spend for the homeless. I think when the police engage with the homeless, we already do a great job at offering those to them. A lot of the time, to be honest, I call this the elephant in the room, right? No one wants to be the bad guy on saying, hey, we need to enforce the law. So my perspective with managing the homelessness in town is to offer a helping hand. But if they are breaking a law, we will enforce the law. And I think there needs to be a hard discussion with our police department on how we're doing that. Thank you.
Thank you, Dan. Next up, Jeff Reedy.
Yes, I went on a ride along with the police department to see their interactions with the homeless. I was struck by how courteous and professional they were in their interactions. Our police are very familiar with most of the people who are here without homes, and they check up on them, and they try to get them help and services that they need. Oftentimes they refuse service. And it's not illegal to be homeless as long as you're not a danger to yourself or others. But I think there does need to be a more concerted effort by the city to push these things like the court. I'm blanking on the name of the court, but when people can get parts of their record expunged if they show that they're working towards getting into a better situation for themselves. So those things, just putting more effort towards those, I think will help.
Thank you. Next up, Matt McCool.
Thank you. We need to take an aggressive, proactive approach on homelessness. There are a tremendous amount of programs out there to get people that are homeless off their feet and back into society. I think a big thing is having these people who actually are successful going through programs come back and try and help people already help homeless. Be an advocate for them. Say, hey, this is what I went through. This is what can help you. We need to take also an aggressive approach as far as criminal activity and then actually arrest the criminal activity by the homeless. We have a homeless court that's been set up recently. It's a diversion program, so they're not put into the judicial system, but actually they're into the services that can help get them going back on their feet. Thank you.
Thank you, Matt. Next up, Dean Francois.
Thank you. There is a lot more we can do to address this homeless issue than what's been done so far. We definitely need to invest more in the outreach coordinators, the outreach homeless coordinators that interact directly with specific homeless individuals. I mean, for the most part, we know a lot of who they are in this small city, and it isn't necessarily a uniformed police officer interacting. It's a counselor, it's an outreach coordinator that can talk to them about the services, convince them that they need to get some services to help them along the way. And that personal interaction is what needed with specific homeless people. And that's better addressed than simply a hard-nosed approach of arresting them or carting them away, which can't be done. So I think we need to be more aggressive in doing those things, use all the tools we have. And yes, the homeless court needs to be used more than it is being used. We are partnering with the other cities, but we need to do more to make sure that this gets addressed, because it's just unfathomable some of the individuals that have just set up camp for years and years and years.
Thank you, Dean.
And hasn't been addressed. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Rob Seaman.
Thank you. Currently, Hermosa Beach is partnered with El Segundo, Redondo, and Manhattan Beach in what's called the MET program. That's the mental evaluation team. It consists of a mental health worker and a police officer who respond to 911 calls. This is very effective because the police officer will speak to the person first to determine that he's safe and not violent and so on. Then the mental health person takes over and does an evaluation on the spot. And they try to either convince that person to go to a shelter or come into a program and get off the street. It's very effective, but they're very undermanned and underfunded. I think maybe the city might be able to help that program do a better job if it had more money to hire more mental health people. The other program is the Hermosa Initiative Court, which has been mentioned. That's also very good, where people will have their nonviolent misdemeanor crimes forgiven if they agree to go to a shelter. This is a very effective way to get people off the street and into shelters. However, there are some people who just do not want to help. Okay.
I'm so sorry, your time's up. Ray Jackson.
Thank you for the question. Our outreach, we have about 20 to 25 resident homeless within our city. Our law enforcement know generally who they are. There is consistent outreach with the mental health advisor, and if you haven't seen these folks in action, it's pretty impressive. I mean, they will lay on the ground, sit on the ground with the individual, get down at their level and talk to them for as long as they need to. They don't rush it. The police officer is patient, and it's pretty impressive. And I would certainly encourage any one of you to attend the Homeless Initiative Court. It's pretty impressive. It's anybody who's been arrested for a non-violent offense, and it's an opportunity to get them into the system, but they also have all the services there. And as they progress through and check all the boxes, then there's a graduation. For some folks, it takes a little time, more time than others. But when you see the person who's actually gone through the system and they are cleared of their offense, and they are integrated back into society as working people. It's a pretty cool thing to witness. So.
Thank you, Ray. Next up, Kieran Harrington.
Well, to start, nobody wants to be homeless. We all know that. Last year we had 19 homeless in Hermosa Beach. Last year we went into, we have 23 homeless in the town. And what Ray just said exactly is that the police officers actually know all of their names. They know what their needs are. They know their mental health issues. They know their health issues. And they're really good at what they do, and they're doing a fantastic job of what they do. I think we just need to partner up with some of the other towns in Torrance, some of the larger towns, Torrance, Redondo, and I think we just need to get them the mental health that they need. And again, we can't ship them off to a different town, but we can do the best we possibly can in our town to make sure that they are taken care of appropriately and with most human dignity possible.
Thank you, Kieran. Next up, Rita Geraci.
A lot of great stuff has been said. This is kind of the benefit of going last. I agree about the homeless court. It's a wonderful addition. So I kind of want to touch on the topic of how we address it. And we have to first start and remember that homeless people are just like you and I. They are fellow human beings. And oftentimes I think the misconception is that you go approach somebody one time and they say, oh, we don't want your help. They've lost trust with society, whether it's mental illness, whether it's addiction, whether it's just losing a job and not having family. Folks in the LGBTQ community end up on the streets. So I think it's about really getting the resources. I think it was Jeff and even Dean said about really expanding our outreach. When I did the Community Police Academy, I got to see firsthand of how we've got organizations like PATH and our advisors that come out and, as he was saying, they get down on the ground and just be humans together. And the last thing I'll say is there's a wonderful player on the Raiders. He's a tight end. His name escapes me, but he's in Las Vegas helping over 400 people get out of homelessness and transition back into society. Thank you.
Thank you. That was the last, right? I didn't skip anybody. Dan started that? All right.
I started that one.
Okay, cool. Next question. If the 10.25% sales tax passes, so we're assuming it passes, what top 3 priorities would you use the additional revenue on and why? And we'll begin with Jeff. Jeff Reed, sorry.
Thanks, Jesse. Yeah, there are many priorities we have in the city. The last place I would put that money is for more studies and consultants. But things that I'd like to prioritize as a city council member is Upper Pier. We have a community up there which just needs a little bit to meet its full potential. We have businesses up there are fantastic, and there are things that we can do. Not even major expenditures, but things we can do to beautify, improve lighting, improve signage up on the Upper Pier to help out. I want to continue, as I mentioned before, I want to continue with economic development strategy, because one of the things that's most important to me is that people on the city council, people on our commissions, and people in the city staff aren't nearly as smart at coming up with great ideas that will help our city as the people who actually live here and work here and own our businesses.
Thank you, Jeff.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Next, Matt McCool. I almost said Dean McCool. Matt McCool.
All right, thank you. This is exactly why I so strongly oppose this initiative, is because the city council has never defined what they're going to spend this money on. So this is why all of us should vote against it. Hypothetically speaking, if it does pass, the most important thing that any city government should work on is public safety and infrastructure. Are we paving the roads? Are our streets paved? That should be the #1 issue. Are the streets being paved? As far as public safety, we do have a obsolete, out-of-date police station. I think money should be saved and invested in our police station. Those would be my top 2 priorities.
Thank you, Matt. Next up, Dean Francois.
Thank you. It's always a difficult thing to figure this out because the arguments for the sales tax address so many things, and some of the things are already covered in the budget. So I'm talking about things that are not in the budget, and what I would do is use some of that funding to address the homeless. It's absolutely a top priority to get the counselors out there and outreach people to work with the homeless. It's prime important to work on it. We also need to, we won't get enough funding to actually pave and do a lot of changes in infrastructure, but we can get down to the outside funding that we need to make it happen. And researching and looking into the outside funding is so important, and it can be done for so many things. There's ADA access down by the beach and the curbs that can be knocked out very cheaply so that so that disabled have access to our beaches up some of those alleys. And quality of life issues is so important, and that increased money should go to those quality of life issues and more. Thank you.
Thank you, Dean. Next up, Rob Seaman.
Thank you. I'm also very much against the sales tax measure, and I think that our businesses are just starting to come back from the pandemic. Our whole country is in an inflationary cycle right now. Prices are rising, gasoline prices are out of whack, everyone knows this. And to add another sales tax on top of that, I think is very, very wrong. When people say that it's only 75 cents on a $100 purchase, well, that's true, and it seems like it's not very much of a problem. But when you buy a refrigerator or an appliance or a car or other large ticket items, it's a lot of money, and people are trying to get by, trying to save their money and trying to not spend more money in an inflationary time. So the sales tax, I think, is very wrong. I think safety is one thing that we could spend that money on if it does pass. I think we could fund the MET program that I mentioned in the last question. They are totally underfunded, and there's two mental health workers for all 4 cities.
Thank you, Rob. So sorry to cut you off. Ray Jackson?
Thank you. A sizable portion of our sales tax dollars spent in Hermosa Beach are from visitors and tourists. So the majority of our businesses could not survive solely on residential spending alone. So a sizable portion of any sales tax would be paid by those who are coming into our city but not paying for any of the services. It's important to understand the county receives about $5 million of sales tax collected from Hermosa Beach every year, and it only returns 13 cents on the dollar. So one of the things that we could do is you can get your 5 weeks of free parking during the holiday season if we can pass that sales tax. I say that in jest, but it's true, because we're going to have to look at what can we not afford to pay. We were fortunate last year; we had $4 million of federal dollars that we were able to balance our budget with, and as any business owner can tell you, right now we're paying for personnel costs and material costs.
So sorry to cut you off. Next up, Kieran Harrington.
Okay, well, I'm against the 3/4 sales tax. The way that it was written, LA County could take the 3/4 sales tax and keep it to the county coffers. While it's unfortunate timing given the record inflation and gas prices, I understand why they put this before the voters. If the residents approve the tax increase, I'll work to make sure the money is spent for core needs of Hermosa Beach instead of consultants. Parks and Recreation 1, Upper Pier for sure needs a little bit more attention. More senior living programs. I'm an advocate for seniors. More senior living programs, more ADA handicap that Dean brought up, access onto our beaches. And if I don't bring up dog park, my wife will kill me.
Oh my God.
So definitely dog park at Hermosa Beach. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Kieran. Next up, Rita Geraci.
I don't think most people realize that our current tax rate of 9.5, 1% gets returned back to Hermosa. The rest goes to state and county levels. So we have a chance of grabbing that revenue and being able to use it in great things like how Dean said about addressing homelessness. I want to see our city be more efficient in terms of technology. We need to be able to have a system to submit building plans online like the city of Torrance does. We need to be more efficient there. In terms of public safety, let's give our police the resources they need for new technologies of catching crime and really just getting ahead of being a more efficient city. And we could use so much of that revenue towards really everything that all of us have talked about today. So we got to get the resources from somewhere, and I think it would be a great thing for our city.
Thank you, Rita. Next up, Dan Godwin.
Thank you, Jesse. And I hate to deflect on this as well, but I'm so adamant against this measure. I'm so adamant. I was the only one to draft and submit the opposing argument and rebuttal for this, okay? The current sales tax is 9.5. The city wants to bump it up to 10.25. Their position is, oh, we can't do these services, or if we don't do it, the county will take our money. This is the endless doom loop that the state of California is in. We pay a premium to be here. Why is California the most expensive state to be here? Yes, it's beautiful. Yes, people want to pay that premium. But it's also because the state puts excess taxes on its citizens. We got $46 million to get it done. Do we need another couple million too? So the people need to stand our ground and keep government accountable. Ready for this? Oh, no, on Measure B. No.
Thank you, Dan. So the next question begins with you, Matt. And it's the last of the timed answers, and then we move to a new segment. I'm excited. Unless I throw an extra question. Matt, the term business friendly, I'm going to use air quotes. The term business friendly is used in a lot of conversations about our city. But we at the Chamber believe that everyone's definition is different. How do you define business friendly?
The best way I can define business friendly from a government standpoint is what I talked about earlier, is regulation reform. I think too much of the city government is involved in regulating our businesses. Probably the best example I can give was the Shine ordinance that was proposed about a year ago. Complete control over businesses, telling them how they're going to run. If there's even a perception of being a possible nuisance, that the city can go ahead and shut them down or modify their CUP. True business friendly from a government standpoint is just getting the government out of the way and letting entrepreneurs and business people do their job. You know, it's very difficult for a business owner to go ahead and run a business where they have to babysit their customers because the city is saying that they're causing a nuisance. It's the job of the police department and the city. Thank you.
Thank you, Matt. Next up, Dean Francois. What does business friendly mean to you?
Thank you. Business friendly means that we certainly have the reality that we are working under a set of rules. It's important that the rules and the codes and everything that's going on is enforced fairly and equitably to all businesses. And that's really important to make it business friendly. If we want to remove some, absolutely, the more remove, the more friendly it will be. But the bottom line is, it doesn't get removed by just sneaking around and getting code enforcement officers not enforce certain ones. You change the rules, make it equitable, fair, so that it's reasonable, and that's what makes it business friendly. So the business plan of each business knows how to perform in the future. And I know, I was a business owner myself, I know what it's like. You have to rely on a business plan. Your business plan is set on the parameters that you know and you have to work with. Thank you.
Thank you, Dean. Next up, Rob Seaman. What does business friendly mean to you?
Well, I think in terms of the city, the large thing that we've been talking about a lot is regulation. It is difficult to get permits and everything involved when you're trying to open a new business. I know this from a personal point of view. I was part owner of a business in Hermosa Beach on Upper Pier Avenue, a restaurant. And it was difficult. And I'm a builder, I've been here for 45 years, and it was still difficult to get the permits squared away. That has been changed somewhat because the planning department has revamped the, community development has revamped those permit requirements, and it seems to be easier now. But I keep hearing from business people that it's still not that simple to do. And so I agree with that. So I think business friendly would mean in part that the city could make more efforts to make that process easier. As far as rules and CUPs are concerned, I think they're absolutely necessary. We would have utter chaos if we had no rules about business. It's not that we're trying to restrict business, it's just we're trying to make it fair and even for everyone.
Thank you, Rob.
Thank you.
Ray Jackson.
Thank you.
What does business friendly mean to you?
I think business friendly means to me, I went to the nail cutting, the nail salon. When you talk to the business owner who has businesses in 3 cities, and she tells you that this was the absolute best city for her to deal with. And this is a recent business owner who opened up during the height of the pandemic. When you talk to the folks who had the ribbon cutting at that we attended, the new physical therapy treatment off of PCH and Gould, and they tell you how fortunate they are to be in our city. You know, business friendly to me is when I talk to businesses who say, hey, we are grateful to be here. The city has been embracing. The chamber has been great. Is everything perfect? No, but there's always the balance between the business and the residents, and sometimes there's a conflict. When a business takes what's things that are not supposed to take, and the city enforces that, then all of a sudden there's the outcry that the city is business unfriendly. You talk to the folks that have recently established businesses, Cultured Celeste,
Thank you, Ray.
a great thing.
Oh, let's keep talking. Kieran Harrington, what does business friendly mean to you?
Well, I've opened up 3 businesses in this town that I've owned, and it is a tough process. I think we do definitely need to be a little bit friendlier with pulling permits and the timeframes on permits. Also, dancing CUPs, live music permits, banner permits, things of that nature. We just need to be a little bit more friendly to our businesses. We need to work with the owners a little bit more. What one person's perception of what amplified music is too loud and someone else's, as far as our police is informed, that it just all needs to be the same. Everybody needs to be on the same field. Everybody needs to be on the same page. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Kieran. Hang on, there's a timer going off.
Not me.
Somebody got it? All right. Rita Geraci, what does business friendly mean to you?
So Ray almost stole my thunder, but he ran out of time. Solange, I'm going to put you on blast real quick, because to me, this is an example of business friendly within our city. Most people don't know, but Solange approached me in May of this year and needed help with the construction aspect of getting her sandwich shop open. And I have to say, I was looped in on the emails back and forth of the city and the health department, and this city was rallying behind this woman to open up her second store. So that's what business friendly means. They get behind you and they were saying, anything you need, anything you need. It was the construction aspect that delayed her, I think I want to say it was 10 months? Yeah. And I remember being there, helping her clean up and get open, and people would knock on the door, I've got 15 seconds left, and they would say, I'm sorry that the city is keeping you from being closed. And we would say, no, no, no. It's just lousy people in construction.
Thank you, Rita. Next up, Dan Godwin. What does business friendly mean to you?
Thank you, Jesse. I first want to repeat a quote that Councilmember Jackson said. Easiest city to do business in, ... because it's not the United States. There's plenty of other states that do business way better than Los Angeles or the state of California. So we need to get better, right? A lot of that is regulatory codes and whatnot, and hopefully things we can do better with the city. But in my mind, I believe being business friendly is getting out of the way of business with respect to government overreach and cost, and then also enabling the city to increase the amount of foot traffic that comes in. So if the city can do those 2 things, I think that is how Hermosa can be business friendly.
Thank you, Dan. Next up, Jeff Reading. What does business friendly mean to you?
Yeah, when I think of business friendly, it's not much different from being friends with a person. It's a relationship built on mutual respect and understanding for the roles that each other perform. And it's not putting up rules for the sake of rules and being capricious about it, but it's about being fair and equitable to businesses. The most important rule I want to see enforced is the golden rule. And the golden rule, with more of that being enforced around here, being practiced around here, I think that will lead to us being a more business-friendly city. And that applies just to businesses just as well as it does to people.
Thank you, Jeff. And I believe we began with Matt, right? So everybody answered? Thank you very much. So that was the timed answer section. We are now going to move on to the lightning round.
Who's going to get struck?
This is the third and final segment of this forum, the lightning round. These questions are intended to have simple platform answers. If you would like to elaborate or explain your answer, please don't. Save that for our mixer next Wednesday, October 12th at 5:30 p.m. You can register online at hbchamber.net. So your answers should be short and sweet, please, and I will cut you off if you keep going. We will begin where we left off. So Dean, you'll begin this next sequence. You're expected to answer the question quickly and simply again, no long answers. I will cut you off. Apparently I needed to remind myself twice that. All right, so the first question. Yes.
Are we required to stand for this one, or can we remain seated?
You are not required to stand at any time. There was just a request from some folks in the back room to stand, so the choice is yours. But if it's a quick answer, you might pop up and pop down. So, okay. Dean, Hermosa business you patronized and when?
Well, I think it was last night. It was at American Junkie.
Thank you. Rob Seaman?
Frito Visto about 2 nights ago.
Thank you. Ray Jackson?
Hook and Plow last week with Senator Allen.
Thank you. Kieran Harrington?
American Junkie, South Bay Eagles Alliance.
Woo!
Go Birds.
Thank you. Rita Geraci?
Frito Visto on Sunday.
Thank you. Dan Godwin?
Barnacles with a hazy sculpin late last night after debate prep.
Thank you. Jeff Reedy?
The same.
Matt McCool?
Zane's Takeout.
Thank you. Dean, I started with you. All right. So next we will begin with Rob. What's your favorite dish in Hermosa?
Well, currently, it's the clam chowder at Frito Visto.
Thank
I
you.
had never had it before. I had it a couple nights ago. and
That's it. I'm gonna cut you off. Sorry, Rob. Quick answers. Ray Jackson.
Chorizo burrito at Barron's is to die for, and the tuna
I'm
turkey sandwich at Mickey's if you haven't had it.
Okay. Kieran Harrington.
Fox and Farrow, duck pasta.
It would be weird if you didn't. Rita Geraci.
Codfish tacos at the Lighthouse.
Thank you. Dan Godwin.
Spicy shrimp ravioli at Fritos. It comes with Cajun chicken. It's amazing.
Thank you. Jeff Reedy.
Yeah, chicken salad sub on a French roll at Mickey's.
Matt McCool.
The Tomahawk at Hook and Plow.
Thank you. Dean Francois.
Fish tacos remain the best at Chucky's.
Thank you. All right, we begin all over again here with Ray Jackson. Do you believe our need for parking will increase or decrease 10 years from now?
Increase.
Kieran Harrington,
Decrease.
Rita Geraci,
Decrease.
Dan Godwin,
All of the above increase.
Jeff Reedy. I drew a blank, sorry.
Oh,
Jeff Reedy,
yeah.
increase or decrease?
Decrease.
Matt McCool,
Decrease.
Dean Francois,
It's gonna depend, but it should decrease.
Rob Seaman.
I'm afraid it might increase.
Gotcha. All right, next we begin with Kieran. I didn't wear my glasses, so. Thanks. I have the same prescription. What is your favorite local tradition, event, or activity?
Fishing in Hermosa Beach, off Hermosa Beach Pier.
Thank you. Rita Geraci.
Fiesta since 2008.
Thank you. Dan Godwin.
Arm split. Volleyball at 8 and Snack Fest.
Thank you. Jeff Reedy.
St. Patrick's Day Parade and the block party on loan accompanies it.
Thank you. Matt McCool.
St. Patrick's Day Parade by far.
Thank you. Dean Francois.
If I heard the question right, swimming in the ocean.
Yes. Thank you. Rob Seaman.
St. Patrick's Day Parade and the block party on Loma Drive.
Thank you. Ray Jackson.
Our annual Easter party and opening day Hermosa Beach Little League.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I would like to say a lot of those were chamber sponsored and hosted. Okay, now pull up that council approved economic development strategy in your head. That's the economic development strategy that was approved by council. Which item is your favorite and why?
Oh.
Rita Geraci.
This goes back to wayfinding signs because it's going to increase visibility and traffic.
You got it. Thank you. Dan Godwin.
I gotta go with lighting because we got a lot of concerned residents out there.
Thank you. Jeff Reedy.
Wayfinding signs for me because it was the first one.
Thank you. Matt McCool.
Outdoor dining.
Thank you. Dean Francois.
Expanding and supporting more live music.
Thank you. Rob Seaman.
I have to say rooftop dining throughout our pedestrian-oriented downtown commercial district.
Thank you. Ray Jackson.
Business improvement districts for our aviation corridor, PCH corridor, as well as our Pier Plaza.
Thank you. Kieran Harrington.
I'm also with outside dining and rooftop dining for sure.
Thank you very much. All right, next up, Dan, you're up first. Which item is your least favorite?
Oh, geez. I'm gonna go, I'm hesitant about the business improvement district because I want to hear the majority of businesses support.
Thank you. Jeff Reedy.
I don't have a Lisa. I think all 30 are equally important.
Thank you, Matt McCool.
This shouldn't be a surprise since I call and complain about it every time, the lane reconfiguration.
Thank you. Dean Francois.
You know, I like the idea of rooftop dining, but I don't see how it ever passed coastal commission. So if we spend too much time trying to get there, it's going to be problematic.
Thanks, Dean. Rob Seaman.
I would have to say the lane reduction program.
Thank you. Ray Jackson.
Just a sheer number. 30 is high.
Fair enough. Kieran Harrington.
I'm also with the lane reduction as well.
Thank you. Rita Geraci.
I'm with Jeff on this, and I don't have any least favorite because I think a lot of thought went into it. And I applaud the group that put it together, even though it's 30.
Thank you. All right. Without using the word transparency or the word business friendly, in 3 words, Jeff, why do you believe you are the better candidate compared to the others seated beside you? 3 words.
3 words. Accountability, collaboration, and intelligence.
Matt McCool.
I definitely have to go with experience, institutional knowledge.
Thank you. Dean Francois.
Experience, knowledge, 4 decades.
Thank you. Rob Seaman.
Experience, common sense, and experience.
Okay, thank you. Ray Jackson.
Incumbent, leadership, integrity.
Thank you. Kieran Harrington.
Strong business acumen, Harrington Hughes.
Thank you. Rita Geraci.
Integrity, compassion, and accountability.
Thank you. Dan Godwin.
Experience, solution focused.
Thank you. Everybody answered, right? So we get lost here. All right. So next up, Matt, you begin. And this is the last question. If you pick one person on this panel to serve on council with you, who would you pick? Matt McCool.
Can I choose myself? Diplomatic way out?
You may answer however you like.
I'd serve with myself, so I don't have to alienate anyone up here.
Thank you. Dean Francois.
That's a rough question, I'll tell you. Rita.
Thank you. Rob Seaman.
It is a tough question. I guess, I don't know, I don't have an answer for that, I suppose. So maybe Ray Jackson because he's already on city council.
Thank you. Ray Jackson.
Rita Geraci.
Thank you. Kieran Harrington.
I'm going to say myself for sure, but I would like to not put anyone under the bus on this.
Thank you. Rita Geraci.
Gotta go with the double R's, Rita and Ray.
Dan Godwin.
I'll go for Dan and Kieran.
Thank you. Jeff Reedy.
If Dan and Kieran had a baby, that
Thank you very much. Matt McCool.
I already asked you.
You did. Sorry, we started with you. All right. All right. Thank you, everybody. We are now going to proceed with closing statements. I have, each candidate will have 1 minute to elaborate on any topic, summarize their thoughts, and share their website. I asked them kindly not to repeat their intro so that you got some information. To the candidates, I encourage you if there was some element where you ran out of time and you needed to quickly say something, now is the time to say that. I'm going to ask everybody, please hang around, meet the candidates. For anybody who brought materials and would like to ask for materials, you can approach the candidates for those after we complete. But I still have some words to say after we're done. So we are going to begin. Matt, you started last. So Dean Francois, 1 minute closing statement.
Thank you very much. I appreciate this forum tonight, and it's great the number of increased members we've obtained in the chamber. That's to be applauded. I think the only clarification I want to make was on homelessness is that we really need to do something because the homeless rate has increase in Hermosa Beach, a decrease in our neighboring cities. Therefore, we need to figure out more about what it is our neighboring cities are doing. We've covered a wide variety of concerns here today, and as we discussed, what makes me the one to vote for is I've been out there for 4 decades. I've accomplished a lot of things for the community. I've diverted storm drains from the beach. I have affected the lives and the quality of life more than you could ever imagine and more. And that's why I think I deserve that vote more than anything, because I think I can get it. It's already 15 seconds, really? Holy moly. Well, like I said, many Hermosa already know me. I know Hermosa. I'm there for you. I'm the independent choice. I know what it's like to be in front of the microphone and speak at things. I will listen to what everyone has to say. That's really important. I'm going to be the independent thinker, and I'm going to listen to you and everyone and what their input's needed, because that's what's needed to get things done in our democracy.
I'm a little kinder on this last round. I feel a little bad, but thank you, Dave. Rob Seaman.
And in closing, I'd like to thank all of you for being here today. You know, to me, the most important thing about my campaign is the ability to speak to you, to speak to the people of Hermosa Beach, listening to your ideas and coming to an agreement on what is the best thing for everybody. My years of work in the city government has taught me that good ideas come from everywhere. Maybe it's just the neighbor that has one thing to say about a particular project. Maybe it's an engaged, active citizen with tons of e-comments. But to me, they're all important and they all deserve my attention. As a council member, I will always encourage people to join the conversation, and I will always listen. I promise you my best efforts in all matters, and I look forward to being a part of a new city council. I hope that there is openness and cooperation, and it inspires all of us to be our best. Please visit my interactive website at robforhermosacouncil.com to see my ideas and give me yours. I ask for your trust and I ask for your vote. Thank you.
Thank you. Ray Jackson.
Thank you again for putting this event together. Thank you everybody for being here this evening. You know, my life has been built on decades as a public servant, pragmatic, principled, caring leader. As your re-elected council member, I will continue to work to make Hermosa Beach better for you, for families, and for our beloved businesses. I am continually inspired by the doers in this town. You know, we have a lot of talkers, a lot of complainers, but we have a lot of folks who just get things done. I'm constantly inspired by the folks I see on the Greenbelt who are sweeping wood chips, that aren't looking for recognition and just getting things done. I'm inspired by Mr. Aguchi, who was walking down Hermosa Avenue picking up trash because we have people that come to our city and treat it like a dump. You know, it's folks like that that continue to inspire me, as well as all the other folks, many of you who are sitting in this room who are doers, getting things done. And I would like to continue in my role at council in helping moving the city forward. We're on a great track right now. We're getting the pieces in place at the city, and we're riding the ship and moving in a positive direction.
Thank you, Ray. Next up, Kieran Harrington.
Again, I've been in this town for 22 years. I've seen it grow. It's an amazing town. I'm so proud to be a resident here. Thank you for putting on this event. Thank you, Chamber. Thank you, Jessica. Thank you, everyone, for showing up here. I've, again, ran 47 senior living facilities across the West Coast. I was responsible for $50 million worth of seniors' budgets for all aspects of food, their quality of life. I think with my knowledge of budgets, CapEx, I could bring a lot to the table for the city of Hermosa Beach. And I love my town, and if I was elected, we would do a great job. Thanks.
Thank you, Kieran. Next up, Rita Geraci.
Thank you all for coming tonight. This was a wonderful debate. My hope is to make Hermosa more efficient in the way we operate as a city, and therefore making it even better for our community of residents and business owners. In my career as a real estate advisor, my primary goal was to earn the trust of my clients when handling their most expensive asset. By leading with integrity and honesty, my clients know that no matter what, I have their back. I am leading with their best interests at the forefront of every step of the way. If elected, I plan to apply those values in order to best serve you, my community. I will always lead with transparency and accountability. I ask for your trust. I ask for your vote. To quote the wonderful Barack Obama, our stories may be singular, but our destination is shared. Thank you. I ask you to visit my website, Rita for Hermosa, to find out more information. And if I haven't met you in this room, I look forward to meeting you. We've got 35 days till election. Thank you.
Thank you. Dan Godwin.
Thank you all for having me a part of this forum tonight. It's been a great session of brainstorming. So we have 8 candidates, right? I think that's record breaking in Hermosa. So that tells me that the community wants change, right? So no matter what decision the voters make come November 8th, I think either way, we're going to get some really good candidates on City Council. I stand for smarter, transparent, and more focused Hermosa. And also, I vote no on Measure B. Do not increase our sales tax, right? Do not. Please visit my website, danforhermosa.com, for more information on my campaign. I got 6 objectives and over 30 actions that I want to share with you. Feel free to attend my mixer at Decadence this Friday from 7 to 9 o'clock if you'd like to come see me. We also got a great band following. I'll be honored to receive your vote on November 8th. Thank you.
Thank you. Jeff Reedy.
Thank you, Jesse, and thank you to the Chamber again for putting on this debate. I'm running for City Council because I think our unique small-town beach culture is worth fighting for. I think that our citizens and our businesses deserve more openness, transparency, and collaboration from their government. And I believe the government's role is to maintain our infrastructure and services to enable our citizens and businesses to thrive. I hope I would be able to earn your vote tonight. For more information and to contact me, go to readyforchangehermosa.com. Thank you.
Thank you. Matt McCool.
Thank you. Thank you everyone for coming out. I'm going to keep it really simple on the one reason and one reason only why I'm running. When I ran in 2017, I've stayed involved with city government, and I've seen the amount of corruption that has gone on. We have 5 closely aligned city council members. 2 of them have been running the city council behind closed doors, while the other 3 have been going along. It is now time to end this abuse of power and this corruption, and I'm the one candidate that can stand up to Councilmember Massey and go ahead and bring change back to the city. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So with that, I've got some closing comments. Thank you all for coming tonight. Please don't forget to take home our list of priorities, which we left on the seats, or you can get another copy, or you can open your member center email. If you're not a member of the Chamber, you can join the movement now at hbchamber.net. We welcome business owners as well as nonprofits and civic members. Ballots will be mailed October 10th, but please join us at the Candidate Mixer next Wednesday, October 12th at 5:30 at Vista. Please sign up now. As you know, it will be a popular event. On behalf of the Chamber,